Well, good morning, everyone. It's 8:02 or 11:02 or 9:02, depending on where you live. But it's 2 minutes after the hour, so we'll go ahead and get started. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you all for joining us as we celebrate our love for EMS data. Don't hold that against me, sorry. We hopefully won't have a terribly long meeting today, but we'll start with some introductions and then go into some business. So first, I'm up first, and I get the privilege of introducing someone. So the question is, why do we do stakeholder introductions? Well, it's just so we get to know others on the call, build some connections that maybe lead to some collaboration in the future, and to just have a little bit of fun. So we ask the same questions to everyone, but what do you like to do to relax or unwind? And this person is into archery and building Lego sets with their daughters, woodworking, and going on adventures with his wife. Some interesting facts: he enjoys cooking, but doesn't often cook from a recipe. I can relate to that. He's worked in the farming industry as a telecom field tech and as a Menards sales associate. And I meant to look up what Menards was because I'm not familiar with that store, but maybe we can ask him. And what do you like best about what you're doing? And he said, evaluating statistical data and seeing where EMS has improved over the decades and where we still can improve. And he's been associated with EMS for about 17 years. So any guesses? So meet Mr. Casey Gregor. He's the newest business data analyst with NEMSIS. We got a couple pictures of Casey and his family. And I see the Lego sets, and I'm assuming that the one on the right was taken at Disneyland. Cool pics.
There's some impressive Legos there.
Yeah.
And I see in chat that Menards is like a Home Depot in the Midwest, but better. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Menards is based out of Wisconsin. It's our Home Depot. It's a little cheaper than Home Depot though.
Nice.
If you're familiar with Lowe's, that's based out of North Carolina where I am. So we're a big Lowe's state here. And Lauri, you're next if you want to kind of talk about our new members here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good follow-up. I'm going to introduce today two new members of the TAC. One is Casey, who you just got to know in our introduction there. And Casey is from Minnesota. And as he shared, he has 17 years experience with in EMS in general. He's been a firefighter, he's been an EMT, a paramedic, captain of both fire and EMS departments. He has experience in both urban and rural settings, and he's done a lot of education focusing on EMR and EMT training, primarily near Northfield EMS in Minnesota. And so we are so excited to welcome you to the team, Casey. Thanks for joining us, and we're excited for all your experience and what you bring to the NEMSIS TAC. So Casey is in a business data analyst role. You want to say hello, Casey?
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
How old are your girls? Tell us that.
Yeah, so 6, 9, and 10. So
Nice.
very, very busy young ladies too.
Yeah, that's fun.
They control the household.
Yeah, right. They're the ones in charge at home, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Casey. And then next, I also want to introduce our new director. So after Julianne left, we realized we kind of needed to split her job into more than one role. So I'm taking part of those responsibilities, and then we're bringing on Kevin Nichols as a full-time NEMSIS director. And he comes to us from Austin, Texas. And so he has 13 years experience in EMS. He most recently has been in Austin, Travis County EMS. He's been a field EMT, worked with the ET3 program, also done a lot of training and education, creating and providing that. And most recently, he's been a data in the data manager's office of the Chief Medical Office in Central Texas. He's also currently completing a master's degree in data science and information systems. And so welcome, Kevin. And again, we're so excited for all the experience you bring and to have you joining the team. You want to say hello and tell us how old your kids are?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to join this team. And I'm just doing some really cool things. So I hope I can contribute to that. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 5-year-old daughter named Kit, K-I-T, and a 3-year-old son named Griffin, and also a 6-year-old golden retriever named Ginny Weasley. She's a dark redhead, so it fits. We're soon going to add a second golden retriever. I think we're going to name her Luna Lovegood. So big Harry Potter fans in our house, along with Disney fans as well. So, but I'm excited to join this team.
Nice. Thank you, Kevin. So welcome to Kevin and Casey, and you guys will be seeing their names and faces a lot more in the near future. I will pass it back to you, John.
So if you too are new to these meetings, I've put a link in the chat to fill out a form so that we can get the same information and possibly slightly embarrass you at our next meeting. But please do take a minute to fill those out, and I'll get with you to get pictures that you'd like to share. So next on the agenda is a maintenance update from Jen. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who like today. Happy state dataset closing day. For maintenance today, the maintenance will be February 20th through the 22nd. And it will affect our external clients in Tableau, in the compliance testing environment, the report portal. So if you experience any issues on February 20th, 21st, or 22nd, just wait a little bit and try again. And then as always, we will send out emails when that gets started and send out an email when it is all finished up. So if you have any questions about maintenance, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jen.
Back to you, John.
Thank you. So the next topic is one that I think is a great thing to talk about. It's the Freedom House Community Celebration, and Miss Monet is heading that up. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Can I please have a little privilege to share my screen for the rights? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to talk to you about a special opportunity for you to participate in a citywide celebration for Freedom House Ambulance Service in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on May 15, 2024. For those who are less familiar with this story, I'll share a brief recap of the keynote address from the author of American Sirens, Mr. Kevin Hazard, during the NASEMSO's 2023 annual meeting in Reno, Nevada. Kevin was a paramedic, and he was curious about how the term paramedic originated. During his research, he learned about Chief John Moon and the Freedom House Ambulance Service. He learned that the first paramedics in this country were African-American men from the Hills District. Among the many heartbreaking events of the time, he also learned that the pioneers of Freedom House had not been publicly recognized for their contributions to the modern EMS systems that we enjoy today. He made a plea that the pioneers be publicly recognized in the city where modern EMS was born. During the 2024 NASEMSO annual meeting in Pittsburgh, there will be a special recognition launching for the Freedom House pioneers. After the launching, there will be an opportunity for community members to also honor the Freedom House pioneers and to participate in a celebration. This celebration will involve music and free food, hopefully some mini tables for like a fair, but we want this to be an exciting opportunity. There is a very small planning committee that's involved with this, and they would love for you to attend if you will be in the area on May 15th of 2024. The event is at 3 p.m. at the historic Frankie Pace Park. And if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as possible with any information. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions at this time, I'll be happy to take them, or you can email me at monet.iheanacho@hsc.utah.edu. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Okay, John, back to you.
Thank you. Could you stop sharing?
Yes.
Thank you. Monet, why don't you put your email in the chat?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So next on our agenda is Mr. Randall Eimerman with the NASEMSO update. Morning, Randall.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me, John. So 3 updates for everyone. First one will be on our extended data definitions subcommittee. Really great subcommittee working on a very large document. We've been proofreading that document. Yesterday, a lot more little edits that were made using the whole group, some formatting, and as we kind of move some things around, we had to adjust some page numbers. So we're just on the final proofs of that, and we should be seeing that document coming out very soon. On the custom data elements, leave behind the lock zone, very close to being completed with that. Some items to bring back to our DMC council. Jay Otsby, DMC chair, has done a great job of kind of keeping that all in order for us and making sure that the DMC has a great understanding of the process. So that's a tough one to get everyone to line up, and we just want to make sure that's done properly. And they also started to begin talking about the destination code for the facilities. Great discussion again. We're just sort of, once again, bringing all the ideas together, seeing what everyone has to offer to see what the best solution can be. And then recently in January 30th, there was a state director meeting. Those director meetings have been happening. That's the 3rd one that's happening. We're trying to do them more quarterly. That's with the NHTSA Office of EMS, NEMSIS, and NASEMSO. It really gives the directors an opportunity to receive any clarity they have on any questions. It allows them to give any comments or improvements. We did send a survey out to our directors as well to see if they had any questions or comments that just needed to be answered. But it really just kind of helps the EMS directors with their efforts, and some of the topics that we covered on that as well was the DOA, the updated information that we've been discussing with the workforce violence, just to make sure they were all up to date with that. And then we did update them as well on the ONDCP dashboard filter of the stimulants and the opiates, and just sort of gave them, good confidence that with the new data of 3.5.0 flowing in, that the dashboard was still accurate. So that's our updates from NASEMSO. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Randall. I don't see anything coming in the chat. If you have anything, we can bring it up in the open forum as well. Next up is, where are we? Is Lauri with the 2023 public release research data set.
Sounds good. Thanks, John. I do just have a couple quick announcements here today. First of all, today is the deadline for when we will stop receiving records for 2023 that will be included in the static data set, the public data set that's released each year. And so I just want to say a huge thank you to all the states and vendors. I know there have been several we've been working closely with to get records caught up by today. So several records are still coming in today. And so keep sending them. And we plan to close that data set very shortly. And next slide here, just some reminders too. We are transitioning to only receiving records up to 1 year old based on the E×03 incident date. And so there's no need to send historic records from 2 or 3 years prior, but just 1 year is what we're looking for. And then if you can always contact us if you plan to send a large batch over 50,000 records, so we can give our IT team a heads up and also potentially spread that amount out over several days. And we encourage you to keep checking current composition of the warehouse and seeing if that compares to your records of what you're receiving at the state level. Reach out to us if anything looks not correct, and we'd be happy to help you investigate that. And then keep sending records, even if you do miss the deadline of today or midnight tonight. Keep sending them if you're catching up, because those records will still be in the warehouse. They'll still be visible on dashboards that show the last year of data, especially, or the last 365 days. And so we want that all to be as accurate and current as possible. So keep sending missing records. And again, thank you for all your work with that. We are continuing to turn states green. It looks like Texas is going to be turning green this week. Just yesterday and today, we started receiving some 3.5 data from them. So big shout out and thank you to Texas. And I think New Mexico is close behind. We're working with them and they're starting to submit some records as well. So we're really encouraged that in January, when we looked at the total number of EPCRs received, 70%, a little over 70% received in January were version 3.5. And so we recognize it's taken a little time for every agency to make that transition, but we thought 70% of records was really good for the first month of the year. So keep working on that and let us know if we can help. And then just another quick announcement, the next topic is mine as well, that we have had a lot of interest in our state data manager course. We kind of created this initially focusing on new state data managers, but we currently have 62 participants enrolled in the course. So new and old state data managers, as well as several vendors, people that are interested in EMS data in your states are somehow getting word of this. EPCR users even are interested in signing up. And so there's about 3.5 hours of video content. John's going to put a link if you're interested, or maybe someone you know, or a newer person in your office that you think might be interested or might benefit. The topics listed in the bottom right there are what we have videos covering. So how EMS data are used, some resources and tools available on our website, all things elements, data sets, and schematrons, information about vendors and compliance, and then engagement opportunities with other stakeholders like NASEMSO. And so we are excited that this course has been so well received, and we already are talking about more similar courses that we can do in the future for wider stakeholder audiences as well. So feel free to send us ideas if there's things you have that you'd love to see covered, or topics you'd love to see covered. We're currently working on that. Any questions there? And I think people are muted, so maybe raise your hand, or if you want to put a question in chat, we can unmute you.
It says, hi, Lauri, what is the deadline to register for the course?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's no deadline. It's kind of a rolling course, so you can enter and work at your own pace. And so there's no deadline.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
And the link is there. And as you've been talking, Lauri, 4 people have signed up.
Oh, great. Excellent.
I get a notification every time everybody signs up. So.
Good. All right. Thank you. I'll pass it back to you, John.
So just a quick update, and I probably should have gotten Jen to do this, but if you were trying to access the data cube in the last day or so, you may have had some errors. Those have all been fixed and access has been restored. It was down for maintenance, and the maintenance is finished. Next up is Mr. Eric Chaney with items from the Office of EMS and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Eric, are you here today? We may have to unmute him.
I was going to say, have we given him permission? Let's see. I think he's here. Oh, I don't see him actually.
Yeah.
Jeremy, are you here?
So they may both be in the same meeting in a different meeting. They didn't let us know that, but I think I know where they may be. So maybe they'll join us in just a minute. Moving right along. Next upcoming events, we'll have public training on Tuesday, March 12th, from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it'll be held by Ms. Jen Correa about compliance and what is a software tested on, which leads us to the open forum. So if you have anything for the forum, put it in chat or raise your hand, send a carrier pigeon, however you'd like. Okay, well, it's a quiet room today.
I see someone asked about good sites to learn about those early EMS pioneers. And John, you put a link to an NPR
I did.
article, is that right?
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
actually
also
how I learned about it. And then Monet put a link to the celebration itself. So thank you, Monet.
great. And there's also a book, I'm not sure if Monet mentioned that, but there's a book that I believe is available on Amazon. And I've read it and it was a really great read. I'd encourage you to read it if you haven't, but I'm forgetting the name now. What's it called?
American Sirens.
American Sirens. Thanks, Monet. So American Sirens, would strongly encourage you to read that book if you have not. It's really encouraging and it's a great read.
Mr. Hazard's got two books that I know of, and American Sirens was this story. And then he has his personal story of EMS, which is also a really good book. It's 1,000 Naked. If you do a search for Kevin Hazard and 1,000 Naked People.
Strangers, 1,000 Naked Strangers.
Thank you, Ben. You'll find the book. And I actually enjoyed his book almost as much as I did about himself, as much as I did the one about Freedom House. But they're both extremely informational. His second book, the one about Freedom House, also has to do with the history of EMS, which if anybody teaches, I've used that in a lot of classes. It has to do with how CPR was developed, how EMS changed over the years. It's a really good book for all of us, really. So that's the open forum. Anyone else been monitoring chat? I don't see any hands raised either. So
Michael Rockler says, I have a question about not values.
just got one. I just see that. Oh, Tina Wright was Kevin's field training officer. That's amazing. Anyway, so Mr. Rockler, when data fields have not values that are acceptable responses, why are states able to refuse these values? Sometimes a not value is a legitimate response. When field crews cannot select a not value, it is forcing them to document inaccurately in order to close their charts. Jen, I'll let you take that one as you're going.
Oh, thanks. No. Good morning, Michael. So the states are allowed to create validation rules that tighten up the national rules. That is their prerogative to do so. If there's something that's causing real issue, you can always take that to your state data manager and discuss that with them and find out if they're, have that discussion with them, right? It may be firing in a way they didn't intend when they wrote the rule, or it could be that, the interpretation of the element is not the same. So that's always a good conversation to have with your data manager. We definitely do not want to encourage inaccurate documentation.
Anyone else? Thank you, Lauri. Lauri just shared a link to the American Sirens book. It's also really good on Audible if you listen to books. I've listened to both books, and they're both really good as audio books.
And Voss Brink from Arizona has her hand up.
Okay, it's not showing on mine, but I can unmute her. Actually, Chris, you may
And anyone can unmute right now.
Okay. And you can unmute yourself if you'd like.
She says she can't unmute.
Oh, now I can, after I said all of that. I kept hitting them. It kept asking me if I wanted to unmute. I did, and then I tried to hit unmute and then it wouldn't let me, I swear. So I just wanted to add something to what Jen said, and I can't speak for all the states because they're all different. But I know we definitely have some validation rules. Ours are not really errors, but they could be errors, but we have them mostly as warnings, where we do not allow not values in certain cases, even though they are one of the possible data element or data values available in that element. In certain situations, it doesn't make sense that something's not applicable when it obviously is based on other data. So that's just an example. But definitely I would welcome, and I'm sure most of the other states would welcome feedback, because sometimes there are weird situations where something just doesn't work. For a warning, it's not as big of a deal. Like, we do it because we'll still be able to get your data, and just sometimes it's such an unusual thing that we're not going to change the validation rule for it. But if it's an error by your state, so the record literally isn't being accepted for some kind of strange situation, I mean, you definitely should reach out, have the agency reach out to their data manager. That's usually how we end up changing our rules throughout the years, is because there's some situation that comes up that just wasn't a scenario that was ever really conceived of before. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ann. So anyone else, you can unmute yourself now if you just want to chime in. Okay. So our upcoming meetings, February 28th is the next, then March 13th and March 27th, which are the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. And you'll send out reminders as we usually do. And the Zoom link is here listed as well. Last call for anyone who has anything to add for the good of the organizations or the group. Sure. If not, we'll see you in a week or in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
That's good. Thanks, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day.